Let me do that again so I actually say your name properly. I've just had some chocolate, which makes your mouth go all weird.
Episode loading. Play. You are listening to Freshly Squeezed.
And we sent you the track and you were like, mate, just keep writing, it's not there just yet. And I kept going, and then my first single, The Night to Waste, you played it, and it just goes to show that I kept writing, got some bangs on the way, which is going great.
Hello, welcome to Freshly Squeezed, the new music podcast. If you've come to find your next favourite band, you were in the right place. Sit back and let me introduce you to 4 brilliant up-and-coming acts on today's podcast. I'm Jim. If you're here for the first time, cheers for popping in. Welcome to this new music community that we're building. If you're back again, nice one. You know what you're in for. And here is what you're in for this week. New music from Nathan Wrigley, once of Callow Youth, but now with a debut tune under his own name. I'll catch up with him about Scream My House Down later. I'll be speaking to one of the most exciting young artists in the UK right now ahead of his new EP release and with a new tune fresh out of the box as well. Alex Spencer coming up in a bit. I'm just getting started. Plus a short trip up to the northeast of England to chat to Parkview to talk about the resurgence of an indie scene in that part of the world and to hear more about their new EP, Pretty Sounds.
Don't you think we're too young to be acting like that?
But first, Wig and Stanleys are currently in the middle of their biggest ever UK tour. They're going to take time out to speak to me shortly after a quick hit of their brand new tune, Out the Door. That sounds like this.
Short of torture, it's wasting my days on a free break. To work I say no, not today. I'm gonna do things my way. I need space and time. I work till then. I'm not ready yet. I need space and time. I work till then, but I'm not ready yet.
New from Stanleys, that is called Out the Door on Freshly Squeezed. The band are out of their hometown of Wigan, currently in the middle of their biggest ever UK tour, taking time out to talk to us on the podcast. How do Stanleys? We all right?
Not so bad. How are we, Jim?
Yeah, very good, thanks. So, Rob and Jake from Stanleys. I was trying to work out whether Stanleys can still be called Stanleys when it's only 50% of the band, but I think it's still all right. You're still plural, so I think we can go with Stanleys for now, can't we?
Yeah, definitely. Especially if it's us too.
Yeah, defo. So it feels like it's been a big few weeks for you at the moment. Biggest tour you've ever done. You're on that right now. You got the new tune Out the Door. Absolute banger, really melodic, really sing-along. Do you feel like, as a band, you're just cruising at the moment?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I think with this tour especially, there's a lot of places that we've never been, particularly down south. And even recently we got an update from James, our manager, just like how many tickets we've done in places like Cambridge and stuff like that. And it's blown us away, really.
What's the first job when you get to a place that you've not been before? Is it you scope the venue out? Do you find your digs? Do you find somewhere to eat, to drink? What's the kind of routine that you're into as a band?
Normally straight to the venue, and then, especially if it's been a long drive, it's straight to the toilet because no one can be, no one has the time to stop at a service station. So get that out of the way, and then try and actually open your eyes and have a look around, because it's easy to turn up to somewhere, sound check, do the gig, and before you know it, the day's done and you're moving on to somewhere else. You don't even know, you've not even had a mooch around. So try and make some time to go and soak in the sights.
Do you find yourself still appreciating it and still kind of enjoying the fact that you are getting to go around the country and play music to people? And do you take it for granted now, or do you still manage to kind of go, hey, this is a bit special, this is really cool?
I think sometimes with the journeys and stuff, like we played Shine On Festival quite recently, and that, you know, we're looking, you look on maps and it's a 4-hour drive and you think, you know, it's a trek and you get all your equipment sorted. But when you're on stage and everyone turns out for you, it all just fades away. You forget about all that and you remember why you do it, and you never get used to that feeling.
Speaking of festivals, obviously you've done
definitely.
Shine On, but you've got Truck Festival this summer as well. When you announced you were going to be playing Truck Festival, you announced it alongside the sentence, "We've got making up to do." What does that mean?
Well, last year there was a third debacle with Stanley's and Truck Festival. It was a unique circumstance. I feel like can only ever happen to us. But essentially, we set off 3 different cars, and Jake managed to just get stuck by a massive road closure on the M6. So we had to do a 3-man Stanley's DJ set instead of the actual set. But I think that was one of those freak incidents that do tend to happen to us. So we'll be setting off with extra precaution this time to make sure there's actually a set to be played.
Talk me through that, Jake. Talk me through the stress you must have been feeling, because it's bad enough being late for anything, but let alone when you're late to be on stage in front of thousands of people.
It was gutting, really. We was on at this feeling stage, and we've done quite a lot with them. They're like kind of cool, quirky, like small tents, where it's like a really good atmosphere, unique atmosphere. And the sun was out in full force. It was going to be a good day, but I was gutted, really. Is what it is, isn't it? I guess. Like, and it was one of them. It was like the motorway was shut for about 4 hours, so it was ridiculous, really. If it had happened earlier on, none of us would have made it. But it's what it is. It's part and parcel of it. It's part of the game we play.
Fingers crossed for this year. Set off nice and early, and hopefully you'll get to see the likes of Kasabian, Blossoms, Cortinas, Block Party, all on that bill, all indie royalty. How do you play it when you bump into that lot backstage? When you bump into someone big, whether you're supporting or whether it's at a festival, is it selfies? Is it career advice? Do you bung them a demo? Or do you just like kind of play it cool, like we're one of you?
I think we like to think we play it cool. But there's been a few times where we've definitely gone a bit too fangirl, I think. I remember at Neighbourhood, we were walking round after our set backstage, and then like John Power just walked past, and this was before we ended up playing with the cast. But I think we'd all had a couple of beers, it was a sunny day, and we're like, oh my God, it's John Power. And I think Harry had just come out of the toilet cubicle and went straight for an handshake, and I don't know if he was too appreciative of that. But in the end, we got to support cast anyway, so we can't have ruined ourselves too much.
So going back to the tour for a second, you said in an interview a couple of years ago that the way you prepared for going on tour was by buying a load of socks. How many socks are we talking? What are you doing? How many are you getting through on an average day?
I feel like that might have been a quote taken from Tom Concannon, so I can't speak wholly as to what he's doing with all of those socks, but you never know, dear. So it might end up going swimming or something, and then you need an extra pair, don't you? So
got to be prepared. Fair enough.
Got to be prepared.
Yeah.
Should be the Stanley's motto.
Okay, right. I'm going to take you into my mind HMV now. You're very lucky. You're only the 3rd band that's been in here. So Sherlock Holmes has his Mind Palace. I have a Mind Record Shop where I store and categorise all the music I've ever heard, and I want to put your new record in here as well. So first, it's the easy job. I want you to think about Out the Door, and I want you to place it within a category in this record shop. There's anything you could ever think of. There's rock over there, there's hip hop over there, look at the back, there's French panpipe disco over there. So which section of the shop do you want to head to?
I mean, the French panpipe disco sounds quite intriguing, really.
We're not browsing. You've got to put your tune in there. Yeah, let's be clear. You're not just having a look around here. You're not having a mooch.
What would you say, Jake? What do you think?
I don't know. It's got that jangly pop summer element, really. I don't know how you feel, Rob, when the sun came out and stuff, and watching the videos we've done recently. It's like a summer sort of. It harks back to the 60s as well, I think, a lot of it.
Yeah, definitely. It's got a bit of a Britpoppy feel to it as well, I think, though. But the Sunshine does tick out the those boxes. Is there a Sunshine category in the Mind HMV? Can we have that? Indie, Britpop, 60s pop, if that's the category.
All right, we're going to put it in Sunshine, Britpop, Indie, 60s pop. Okay, we'll find... Oh, there it is. It's just over there. We're going to bang it in there. I've got to say, I agree with the Britpop thing 100%. I think this song, more than any other you've ever done, I can hear that kind of late Stone Roses stuff. The Stone Roses, if Ian Brown could sing, that's kind of what I'm hearing. from the Stanleys at the
That's
moment.
high praise. We'll take that.
Okay, so this next question is a bit more tricky. So we've got it in the right section. Now, I don't store this music alphabetically, that'd be crazy. Instead, I do it by influences and common sounds. So you'll see Florence and the Machine over there next to Kate Bush. You'll see over there Weezer next to the Pixies. Which two artists, or even specific records if you like, do you want to put the new Stanleys tune between? You can only pick two. It's got to go sandwiched between two.
It'd be hard for one of them to not be Stone Roses, I think. I'd wedge it. Jake, feel free to tell me I'm wrong, but I'd wedge it in between Stone Roses and the Hollies.
Yeah, let's do that. I was thinking a bit of Herman's Hermits or something like that.
I could twist Hollies to Herman's Hermits. I couldn't say no to that.
Right, we'll stick it on the shelf there. Job done. I'll leave you guys in there. You can make yourself at home. You can go and check out the French Panpipe Disco if you really want to. Have a browse, borrow some records if you like. Enjoy yourselves in here, and I'm sure we'll catch up with Stanleys again very soon. Nice one.
Thanks very much, Jim. Cheers.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Just lock up on your way out. Make sure you lock the door.
We'll try.
Love that new one from Stanleys. So next on Freshly Squeezed, I'm going to take some time to speak to an artist who is travelling at breakneck speed at the moment and has been since pretty much the age of 10 when he was first spotted busking on the streets of Manchester. Alex Spencer. How you doing, Alex?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, really good. It's been a while. You must be absolutely knackered at the moment because it's just been non-stop. And it just seems like you've always got something big on the horizon, be it festival announcements or gigs or tunes or being featured on FC25, new releases, whatever it is. Where'd you get the energy from? How do you do it?
I know. Wow, it's been non-stop for the last 18 years of my life. I'm 18 now. But I love the passion of it, and I love to stay busy and just to give it my all. And I think that's what's helped me succeed at the minute because I'm myself. I love doing what I'm doing and nothing's stopping me, do you know what I mean? But a bit tired at the minute, just came off my first proper UK tour, 8 dates around the UK, back to reality this week at college, but yeah.
How was that in terms of expectations? Because I imagine if you're heading out on your first UK tour, you've got an idea of how it's going to be. Was there anything that caught you off guard?
Very much so. Obviously, as I do in my mind, I was stressing before the tour, oh, no one's going to turn up. I'm playing cities I've never been to before. How the hell do I sell tickets? So I'm on call to my agent, are you sure we can do these? And these venues are decent size, do you know what I mean? All 100, 200 plus. So it's wow. And then anyway, it was each night surprised me. Each night was packed, full crowds. In Bristol, how the hell am I selling out a room? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just never saw it coming, and it was that's what surprised me, the amount of people turning up to each city each night, giving it their all, singing all my songs. I just find it crazy that I have people follow my music across the UK, which is great.
I kind of joked that where'd you find your energy before, but genuinely, you always seem to have something on the go. You always have a next thing to focus on. Who is it that's driving that? Because I look at a band like Lottery Winners and they are constantly on it. They're constantly working, but there's four of them. They're kind of G'ing each other up. They're kind of coming up with ideas. For you, is it you that's driving it? Or is it the team around you that's going, let's do this? Where's it coming from?
Well, I think I want this as my career. So I obviously want to work hard, take inspiration from so many people on social, so many musicians. My dad as well, he's a big part. He's always wanting the best for me. You've known him since the start. He's always been there for me, pushing and helping me. And do you know what I mean? If there's any extra bits that he's doing, he's always there to help. I've just got on board with the new team, which is it's the right time for me now because I've got more things on my plate and I can't deal with everything. So I don't know, I'm doing it on my own. It can be draining, but it's great. Do you know what I mean? I love staying busy with it.
Like I said at the top, you've been kind of doing this for 6 years, maybe a little bit longer now in terms of kind of plugging away, which for you, that's almost a third of your life. So it's quite a long period of time.
I know.
But 6 years is actually still pretty fast in terms of the development you've seen and what you've achieved. Does it feel meteoric to you, or does it kind of feel like it's still not as fast as you would have liked?
Yeah, I'm so happy with the progress. It's for example, 6 years ago, and now how much progress I've made, that's what keeps me going. I look at myself 2 years ago where I was at. 2 years later, I'm here now and I've made so much progress. Imagine another 2 years. It's a crazy full circle moment. I remember first ever song I wrote, Things Just Come and Go. That was back in the days, 2019, 2020, lockdown maybe. And we sent you the track and you were like, mate, just keep writing. It's not there yet. It's not there just yet. And I kept going. And then my first single, The Night to Waste, that when I rebranded and everything, you played it and it just goes to show that I kept going. Do you know what I mean? And then I kept writing, got some bangs on the way and it's just going great.
Well, we're on to the next thing now. And the new EP, Where Do We Go From Here, is the next thing that's coming. A new tune, Cloud Thinking, is from that as well, obviously. EP3 this is, isn't it?
This is EP3, yeah.
So how does this differ from what's come before? What are you hearing in this that maybe you've not heard previously?
A lot more maturity in my writing. The production sounding a lot bigger. It's feeling nicer. As a whole, what did I write yesterday? Manager messaged me and she was like, well, how would you describe Where Do We Go From Here? And I said, if I can find it, I feel Where Do We Go wants to reference a coming of age / maturing into this like hard truth of the real world. I don't know if you've heard my song Where Do We Go From Here?
Yeah.
It's a bit different. It's taken on a bit of those housey electronic elements, a bit more Two-Door Cinema Club, Wombats, Sam Fendery references. And that one talks about life and death and where we're going from here and getting into this hard truth of reality. It can even be going to a dystopian reality. I've been talking a lot more about mature subjects, but can't wait to see where even more of my stuff goes. So yeah.
You mentioned the UK tour you've just come off. The kind of culmination of that was playing Gorilla in Manchester, which is your biggest gig to date, I think.
Yeah.
How did it go down? Tell me how the gig went.
Oh, amazing. Like, we sold it out a week prior. And it was on board to sell out like even 2 months before. But you know what people are like? They buy tickets last minute. But yeah, it sold out and I was buzzing. And do you know when the show sold out, so you've got nothing to stress about. And this was the first ever show where I weren't nervous at all. I did the sound check. Everyone, all the crew and my band were on top of the world because we knew this was the one we'd been waiting for months. This was the big show. And yeah, honestly, like 30 minutes before the show, we could hear the crowd chanting my name. The crowd was absolutely packed. Even from the support act, literally everyone was in there. Anyway, we come on stage, energy's buzzing, like I'm jumping. And from that first song, Love and Let Go, crowd mosh pitting, singing, energy high. It was just like everything I could ever ask for. So now it's so good. I can build off that.
Does that get old, that crowd singing your own words back to you? That must just feel weird and brilliant at the same time.
Yeah, it's crazy. This is the first ever, like, these runner shows, first time where I've ever had it like this. Like, each crowd singing every song back. Even the unreleased ones, even Clouded Thinking. Everyone knows lyrics to that because I've been playing it for so long. So, yeah, it's mental and it'll never get old.
Alex, absolutely buzzing for you that it's going so well. It's a pleasure to see.
Nice, I really appreciate it.
Looking forward to seeing what's coming next. We're going to get the brand new tune, Cloud Thinking, on Freshly Squeezed. But nice one, and cheers for joining me.
Nice one, thanks for having me. Have a good one.
So the new EP on the way very soon, and this will feature on that. It's brand new from Alex Spencer on Freshly Squeezed. It's called Clouded Thinking.
Out in the morning, there is a warning sign. Keeping my eyes shut, hearing the vultures cry. They always seem to remind me and my hometown, dead or alive. I've been feeling like if I run away now, I get a bit tied up in the way that you always cloud my thinking. If I get away now, I bet I'll be miles up, trying to knock them down with clouded thinking. I'm just getting started. These streets won't drag me down. You're a piece of a puzzle with not much significance. Nothing but rubble, broken and visionless. I know that you needed reminding, so here am I shouting, rolling the dice. I've been feeling like.
At the moment, I think the new EP from Alex Spencer featuring that tune will be out July-ish. I think that's the latest, but exact dates TBC at the moment. So, one of the things I love about doing this podcast is not only do I get to introduce you to new music, is I get to find a load of new music myself as well. And that is the case with the next band. They're from the northeast of England, brand new to me. Park View are on the pod and Alex joins me. How do, Alex? Cheers for coming on.
Not a problem at all. Thank you very much for having us.
So we're chatting just before the EP comes out, the brand new EP, Pretty Sounds. How are the nerves? How are you feeling?
Feeling good. The nerves haven't started just yet. It's been a longer process than our other releases have, but we were just really trying to focus on getting the recordings right, which I think has kind of
helped with the nerves so far because we've been working on it since maybe September.
Oh wow, okay.
So I think it's maybe felt like less of a rush and more of a calmer process.
At some point, you just get to the stage with it where you just go, look, we could work on this forever. We could tweak it forever. We just need to say that's it and draw a line under it.
Definitely. We did get to that extent. I will admit, some of the gaps in the recording process were things we couldn't really move around, like work commitments and things. So it wasn't always a creative kind of break. But that being said, we've ended up with a product that we're really kind of proud of and happy to put out there.
When I first heard your new EP, the band that I was instantly reminded of was early days Maximo Park. Obviously, people will be able to tell from your accent, you're from the same neck of the woods. Are they a band that have inspired you with your work?
I've got to admit, you're definitely not the first person to say that, Jim, but I haven't heard much Maximo Park. I didn't really I wasn't really aware of them. I'd heard the name until we'd started putting out demos where, again, that kind of comparison was made. So as much as, from what I have heard of them, I do really like. I've got to admit, they weren't necessarily in our minds when we were making this EP.
I have to say, though, I think the new stuff, having delved into your back catalogue a little bit, I do think there is a bit of a gear shift now compared to what you've done in the past. And it seems like you've got a few different vibes, a few different gears as a band. I was listening to Red and Blue, and I think that's very Sam Fender-esque. And there's a fair bit of noughties indie that kind of pops up in your sound as well. How do you classify yourselves? If you're describing Parkview as a band, where do you place yourself on that kind of genre list?
I think we are kind of somewhere in between the two. Our Instagram bio, and it's Alfie that sorts out the Instagram bio. He's described us as Geordie indie rock and rollers.
Nice.
And I think that kind of puts we're in between the two, which I don't think's too far off. I think we will have range in between. For example, one of the kind of acoustic tracks on this EP is taking it to a maybe different place where it's not maybe noughties and it's less kind of Sam Fendery and more acoustic and maybe a bit folky sometimes. But I would definitely put us spot on in between the two.
You are from the northeast of England, as I mentioned already. It feels like to me, from the outside looking in, that there's a little bit of a scene resurgence happening at the moment. On this pod recently, we've had the Red Room and Frankie Dobson. Lizzie Esau, I absolutely love, who's from up that neck of the woods. Andrew Cushion obviously is doing great stuff. Does it feel like when you're in the confines of the Northeast, does it feel like there is something special happening at the moment?
It definitely does. You've genuinely listed off some of my kind of personal favourites from the Northeast as well. I mean, the Red Room doing absolutely class. I think they've been around maybe slightly earlier than we have, but I was always aware of them kind of coming through. Frankie Dobson's put out his first single. That was great. Lizzie's is a big, is definitely on the up. There's a massive buzz. And honestly, there's more if you just pull back the curtain a bit. One of the things about obviously being a local band is the amount of other local bands that you play with.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like every gig we do, especially locally, there's always a new kind of band that either we've supported us that I came away thinking, wow, these are good.
Yeah, it's a really strong scene emerging throughout the UK at the moment, but there's definitely little hubs. Manchester is a hub. You've got Newcastle, definitely feels like there's something going on as well. It's an exciting time for kind of indie music and bands in the UK. I think at the moment, I've said that a few times before over the last couple of decades, and it never quite happens, but it feels like there's something bubbling up at the moment. We're going to play a tune off the EP. We're going to play Pretty Sounds, which is the title track. Do you go as far as kind of setting ambitions, setting like, excuse the business term, but KPIs when you're going to release something like this? Is it a statement of intent? What do you want to happen with this record?
I think with this record, we want to almost show what we've been doing over the last 2.5 years, show where we've got to, and then also show where we want to go. I think the Pretty Sounds single as well is definitely a direction that we're wanting to head in terms of more intricate guitars going on, kind of maybe interplaying off each other. In terms of like specific numbers and specific goals, it's always hard to say with streams, but what we're trying to do is build live performance, because I think that's a lot more tangible. We've sold out the most recent headliner we did at the Clooney 2, and that's about 200 capacity, and obviously the aim is to then build off that. And we've got big slots at kind of local festivals, but with big names as well, like Hardwick Festival and Coast Fest as well, which is new and up and coming. So we're definitely here to stay.
Well, good luck with the summer and the festivals. Good luck with the EP as well. I think it's a cracker. I'm delighted that Parkview are now on my musical radar. But Alex, thank you very much for joining me on Freshly Squeezed.
Absolute pleasure, Jim. Thank you.
Heads up on that tune. I mean, it kind of depends when you're listening to this podcast, because that is the nature of podcasting. But if you listen to it as soon as it came out, that'll be the first opportunity you've had to hear that brand new tune from Parkview. Pretty Sounds, title track of their EP, which is out at the end of the week. Right, let's move on. So you might previously have heard of a band called Callow Youth, particularly in the Manchester area. They are no more, but Nathan Wrigley was once of Callow Youth. He's now doing his own thing. His debut tune, Scream My House Down, is out now, and he is on Freshly Squeezed. Nathan, good to speak to you, mate. How you doing?
I'm not bad, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks for joining me. Cheers for coming on. So this is your debut tune as a solo artist. How has this whole thing come about? How has it gone from the end of Callow Youth to you kind of doing your own thing, basically?
I think the end of Callow Youth, we lost a little bit of momentum with the whole lockdown COVID thing. It was hard to kind of get back going because we were just kind of in our peak. We was supporting slow readers, people like that. And then it kind of went to an end, and then we all needed money after lockdown. So it was like, it was working more, and we kind of needed to find our way. We was only young, so we needed to kind of figure out what we was going to do for the rest of our lives. Then I got myself personally a little more settled, started writing some of my music, and just thought, you know what, I'll have a go at the singing stuff. And then, just basically come from that, really, just sitting in my bedroom writing on the acoustic.
So as you said, you were dead young when you got into Callow Youth. I think you were about 17 when you started that band.
15 or 16 when we started
Wow.
the band. I think 17 before we released anything.
So going into music and kind of getting back involved again, what was it that prompted you to go, I'm just going to do these tunes myself, rather than maybe falling back into another group dynamic?
I think it was more because I didn't have to rely on anybody else. I could do everything in like kind of my own time. You know, it was kind of when I'm free, that's when the whole project will be free. We'll hopefully get onto some other stuff, maybe some shows with a band in the future. But in terms of the songwriting process, it's always just been, you know, just me, and I can do it on my own time and whenever I need to.
Was there ever a consideration in putting this stuff together, that kind of like, well, let's get the band back together. I've got some tunes. I'll give the lads a call. We'll get back into it again at any point. Or was it always going to be just you?
To be honest, I think it was always going to be just me. I think the way that I wrote my songs, I wanted them to be sung how I was singing them. Obviously, being the bassist or the backing vocalist in Callow Youth, so I don't know, I wanted to take I suppose, a frontman step.
It's interesting that, like you say, you were the bassist in Callow Youth, you did some backing vocals, but I don't think I'd ever really heard your voice before properly. But one of the things that I think really stands out about this track particularly is your voice, and it is pretty unique. Did you learn to sing a certain way, or were you influenced by certain artists, or was it just the way it came out when you opened your mouth?
More of the last, to be honest. I mean, my influence list could go on for ages. You know, at first when I started singing, it started a little bit deeper, like a Dylan kind of vibe. Then I tried to mix it with kind of like a higher Jake Bugg stuff because I could get my voice kind of higher than I'd ever realized before. So it kind of molded from going in and out of like a deep kind of sound into like a really high kind of sounding, like, you know, an anthemic chorus type of stuff.
And as your debut tune, this song, inspiration-wise, seems like it comes from a really unique place. Now, I'm quoting this direct from the kind of info you sent me, that it delves into the intense and tumultuous relationship between Chuck Bass and Blair Waldorf from Gossip Girl. I'm familiar with Gossip Girl. I can't say I've ever seen it. I don't know who Chuck Bass is. I've no idea who Blair Waldorf is. It feels like an unusual reference point for a song, this.
Yeah, I mean, I got shown it, you know, started watching it, and then all of a sudden I'm like, no, I'm not going to watch that. Then you're just catching the bit in your eye, and next thing you know, you're indulged. This is the best thing since sliced bread. You sat there daily, like, you know, thinking about, I'm going to get on from work, I'm going to watch Gossip Girl. It was pretty much how it was. With Chuck and Blair, they're kind of like most of the seasons, they're just in and out of being together, but they can't just, you know, be nice to each other. It's more of like they're either madly in love or they just hate each other. The whole storyline around them too is just kind of like a modern day, you know, Romeo and Juliet, just with a lot more Americanisms in it.
Is that fairly typical of where you would find your inspiration for writing? Do you have these cultural reference points then instead of maybe writing about you and your life?
Yeah, I think I wanted to take a different approach in terms of like, I could sit and just talk about how it's like, what it's like to be growing up as a lad from Failsworth in Manchester, you know. But I feel like a lot of the people, they do agree with that just because, you know, it's a working class town. But it was kind of like more, my life's been pretty standard. You know, I've had my great points personally, but at what point will other people, you know, really feel about it? So I was thinking, you know, people have seen this and it's more of like a televised, you know, a very noticeable couple to a lot of people, and they'll kind of hear bits in the song where they'll think, you know, oh yeah, that must be that time there, and it just leaves people guessing a little bit more because they won't always know me personally.
Yeah.
But as terms for other songs, like, you know, I've used quite a lot of like, you know, film, TV. It seems to be quite more of a muse for me. I just think it's because they just like, you know, it's an horizon that I'll never see. I'm probably not going to live in the Upper East Side of New York. But if one day we get there, then maybe I'll know. But for now, yeah, it's a good point for me to start.
Nice one. It's a really interesting place to start from a writing point of view. I think the tune Scream the House Down is an absolutely belting debut record as well. So congratulations on it. Before I let you go and before we give a spin to the tune, what one thing do you think you learned from your experience with Cali Youth and the kind of band environment that will make sure that when you're releasing music under your own steam into this new identity that's going to make sure that you absolutely smash it this time? What's that one kind of gem of knowledge that you have in your bank now?
Personally, for me, you know, just like growth and the way that we went from being like, you know, teenagers, like really young guys. Now it's just kind of like I'll work off what I think I want to do and like what will make me more happy. You know, never let anybody really tell you what you should sound like or what you should do or where you should play. You know, do what makes you feel good.
Good lesson, good life lesson for everyone, that, not just in music. Nathan, pleasure to speak to you, mate. Good luck with the new tune, and thank you very much for joining me on Freshly Squeezed.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
done. That is it for today's Freshly Squeezed. 4 brilliant new acts featuring on this episode: Alex Spencer, Nathan Wrigley, Stanleys, and Parkview. Alex speaking to us from Parkview. I'm even going to forgive him for not knowing who Maximo Park was. I mean, that feels unforgivable, but I'm going to let him off. If you want to hear more from any of those acts, the tunes you heard, or maybe you want to delve deeper into the back catalogue, the links are in the bio as always. Continue to spread the word about Freshly Squeezed. Get your new music loving mates into this podcast. We're seeing the audience growing all the time, and that's down to you. That's down to you telling your mates that they should listen, grabbing their phones, getting in Spotify, clicking follow, and generally spreading the word. Thank you, we appreciate it. Don't forget, I want to hear if you've spotted any new bands as well. If you've been to a gig, or maybe you've been introduced to someone yourself, let me know about it, because I'd love to feature them on the pod. You can get us by leaving a comment in your favourite podcasting app, or you can find me on Twitter X, Mr_Jim Bob. That's the place to head to that. I'll see you soon. Cheers for your ears.
Freshly Squeezed, a new music podcast, was devised, produced and hosted by Jim Salveson. Sound design and additional production by Ant McKinley. Theme music, Blue Blazer, is written and produced by Spin Class. Stop.